Hey guys, it's Willoughby, and today I'm going to be doing my first voiceover. I'm really excited. You can probably tell that it's my first voiceover because you can hear my voice. What I'm doing today, in case you can tell from the name, I'm drawing random objects as people, women actually, because they're all women. Yep. The first one I have here is plastic cup. Um, yeah. Her hair is based off the plastic cups that you would typically see near water fountains. I'll edit a photo in one of the corners here so you can see what I was going for in case you don't know what I'm talking about. I'm really happy with the way she turned out. Um, it just went really well. Her proportions I'm happy with. Her dress turned out right. Her hair turned out right. Shading. I mean, it just all came together really well. Shapes, colors. I don't know what else there is that can turn out really well. So, I'm happy with that. And her dress is based off those solo cups that are apparently a American stereotype. I'm not sure if it's an actual thing or not, so if you're not American and that's a thing, let me know. If not, also let me know because I want to know. I'm interested in stuff like that. Um, yeah. I'm also using a new video recording software that I nearly thought I lost like 3 hours of progress. I am so glad I didn't because I really wanted to put up this photo, but I did not want to do 3 hours of work again. I'm happy with the way the shine turned out on the skirt of the dress. It looks really solo cup-y. That's it. That's an actual word, which it's probably not. I just like adding E and S to words. Anyway, on to my next woman. Now we're on to Kern on the Cob. Her hair is very oddly shaped. I'm not sure how in the world she was supposed to have done that. But yeah, I decided to give her like a hat that looked like melting butter. Because most people like putting melted butter on their curd. And so I'm like, it would look neat as a hat. Although I'm not very happy with the way the colors turned out on that. Butter is a very hard color to achieve, it seems. But I'm pretty happy with the melted look I gave it though. I tried to give a really pale skin, but it just kept not turning out quite right. But I think it turned out alright. The dress is a very coon themed dress. The skirt was supposed to look like, well, coon on the cob. And it was supposed to be like quilted. Although I had to remove some of the quilting as I could not let it look right above her waist. Just looked very off and weird. I'm not sure if that was just me or not, but you know. I gave her green eyes because she's a very natural person, and Coon grows on green plants, so that's a thing. I also tried to give her lips, but I'm terrible at lips. I just am. I don't know why I can never seem to do them right. They just don't come out right, so I ended up not. And as you will see here in a moment, when I edited out the little bumps on her stomach area, I forgot to change the shading as much as it was necessary, but I think otherwise it turned out pretty well. Shading the dress, while it was time consuming and a bit tricky, it went pretty well. I'm happy with this overall. It has its flaws, but I'm not perfect. I enjoyed doing it a lot, so Guess that matters is what matters in the end, right? Hope so. I also noticed after this that the lines for the quilt where it comes in did not line up right, which was part of the reason it was so tricky for me to get it right. They didn't line up nicely because I originally draw them on paper and then I colored them on the computer because I find it easiest that way, especially when drawing full bodies and multiple of them. So, ease is important to an extent, right? Yeah. It's also not cheating, right? Right? And I'm rambling off quite a bit. This one is the phoneless phone case. I'm pretty happy with the design of this one, although I'm not so thrilled about how it ended up looking. I decided to get for really brightly colored hair, as phones and stuff are very modern and like techy and stuff. So I thought brightly colored hair would work really well for that design. I'm also trying to work on different body types with limited success, although I'm pretty happy with how this ended up looking. I designed her dress to look like a phone case, and then I added a skirt in the front so it's, appropriate and stuff. And then, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the hair with this one. It just looks really cool and almost glowy to me, probably because it's super saturated. Because I don't believe that saturated colors should be avoided at all costs. I think as long as, you're careful with it and all that, it works well. I had to redraw some of the lines on this one, as you'll see, they did not match up, and so they were like go every which way, and I just could not handle that. I tried, didn't work, so redraw. But it turned out alright. Yeah. So I also gave her a very modern style dress. Meanwhile, like, a lot of the others have very formal ball gowny dresses. She's literally wearing a square dress, which is higher in the front. So, yeah. I was pretty happy with the execution on this, though. So, well, not really. But I'm happy with the design. I thought it was pretty cool. And I don't really have much else to say. So, yeah. We'll be moving on here shortly. I also gave her black leathery boots because those are very modern, chic, techie-ish style thing. I also tried to make her skirt pretty shiny to differentiate it a little from the hard plastic case that she's wearing. Can't imagine walking around with a hard plastic case. I also decided, despite not having a phone in that case, to add a headphones that are plugged into it. Although you can't really see them that well because the cords are small. But you can see the headphones. And I also decided to have the headphones, hair, and case match some. And this is where I go back and redo plastic cups. Yes, they are named after what I based them after because I'm lazy and do not feel like finding unique names for them. This one is Stencil. I decided to make her black because I thought it'd be cool if she had like circle shaped hair, and that's something black people can actually achieve, so like why not? And her dress is made out of stencils and kind of what's supposed to be at least representing paper in a way. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I think it looks pretty good. Although I'm not so happy with the skin color. I think it was probably a bit too warm because I'm not used to finding that particular type of skin color, so it took me a while to find one as good as that. Also, I found her hair hard to color, as it's I find that kind of hair hard to shade, as I'm still learning, and majority of my characters are not having natural black hair. But I'm working on it, and I think it turned out alright. And one of the hard parts with this dress in particular was getting the shapes right. Because stencils, you have a bunch of different shapes with different sizes and whatnot. And so trying to make it look right while contouring the body, the shape of the dress, was pretty tricky. Especially as I was trying to do a good diversity of different shapes with sizes. But it was like really fun to do at the same time. So I'm happy with it. The shading was also tricky with the paper because I wanted it to look like the stencils were coming out from the paper a bit so you can see its shadow. Also, finding the right blue took a while, although most of that was edited out. I also realized after finishing it that I forgot to add the little ruler that was on the side of the dress in the original sketch. But it works, at least. And I'm relatively happy with it. I really am. And I try to emphasize the paper-like things with structure of the dress by adding sharp corners when adding the different ruffles on the dress to kind of give it a paper-esque illusion to it. Not sure if that was executed great, but I'm happy with it. Hope you guys like it too. And yeah. And then I just shaded like I did most of the others. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Now I'm on to shoe. I decided to give her a very sporty look as I based her off sneakers, as that is what I usually think of when I think of shoes. And she was particularly based off Nikes because those are one of the most common sneaker, makers. And I decided, and she's also slightly based off one of my friends who plays soccer really well. I don't know if that was purpose or not. It was kind of, but kind of not. You know how, I'm sure you get it. You probably don't, but whichever. I decided to base her shirt dress to give it kind of like a shoe design, and her sleeves and turtleneck look kind of socky. I also decided it would be cool to go for kind of big feet, as shoes is her thing, so big feet to show off your shoes better. Also, if you were part of a sneaker company and you want to take her design, like, contact me. I'll be willing to sell it to you. Just saying. And I was really happy for the calligraphy tool with this because it helped me make the Nike symbol correctly. So it looks nice. Although I forgot to put on the dress like I initially intended to. I'm really happy with how the coloring just really worked with this. And I chose bright color to really go stark against the black and white, especially as a lot of sneakers will often have bright colors on them. And her dress is made to match her shoes. I also tried to make it look like a relatively loose, like a stretchy exercise material dress. So it's like exercise clothes because, sneakers and stuff. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. I gave it kind of a lace-up looking front and a little bit of a tongue to it to help accentuate this is based off a shoe look. Not sure why someone would want to wear a dress based off shoes, but you know, you do you, right? So this one's probably my least formal of all of them. But if you're basing them on sneakers, there's only so much formality you can put into it and not have it look just because it doesn't make sense to be. Most people think of sneakers and they're like, oh, you know, you go out running and stuff, and if you have a full event later, you have to shower and change. Here we have my pine cone one, which again, like the cone, I decided to make her look very natural. She has very messy green hair that's supposed to look kind of like a pine tree, and her skirt of the dress looks like a pine cone. I also incorporated some pine needles and stuff into the top portion of the dress especially, and around the trim of the bottom of the dress. Is also, if I added a couple things, I could even make it look like a Christmas tree person. I'm not sure why you would dye your hair green. I mean, it's not most practical color, but it works if you're doing a very natural look. I also kind of imagining her and Coon and the Cobb don't really get along well with Plastic Cup because, you know, they're natural, like, themed people, and then she's, like, one of the typical litter kind of things. I thought that would be neat if I ever decide to do something with these designs, which is relatively unlikely, but not impossible. Maybe. One of the hard things about this is trying to make the needles look right, especially on the bottom. Especially when I started coloring it, just was weird. Also, the different little pine cone bump things, not sure what those are called, but those took a while to draw right. It doesn't look like it because this is a speed paint, but it was. I also forgot to put the green trim on the bottom of the dress on a different layer, so I had to be really careful not to smudge that into the pine cone too much, although it did a little, I admit. The dress on this, the skirt alone, probably took like half an hour or something, which is why I do speed paints and not live paints that often. And if I did a live paint, it would not be a dress like this, because I don't have time for that, and my mom wouldn't let me. So, I'm happy with the way this turned out. I think I got the idea across at the very least. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Here is the final project. And please check out my sisters and our joint channels. See you guys in the next video.